What's good, gang? It's Micro. Today we're just going to be going over some stocks just like we always do. With a little bit of a twist, we're going to actually add a lesson into this one as well. So, just a quick recap. We looked at Avgo last week, and Avgo went absolutely nuclear. We absolutely printed in the Discord. We took the 980 calls, I believe, for 630 apiece. May have been a little bit more, but they ended up actually hitting over $20,000 per contract. Now, obviously, nobody is going to hold for that long of a move except one of my good friends. But nonetheless, absolutely insane week. It's been an insane start to December. So, yeah, let's just get right into it.
Now, first and foremost, of course, we have to talk about Avgo. As mentioned in the intro, we ended up hitting this trade. We got in at 9:59. So we got in, this candle. This is when we had entered, and it went absolutely nuclear. We got 100% in 4 minutes. Obviously, not being greedy, you're going to want to take that, right? 4 minutes doing very little work, and you're already, at 100% of your original trade size. So after that, we ended up actually ripping like 150 more bucks, which is, kind of unheard of. Nonetheless, it was a really good trade. I know one person who ended up holding, and that's about it. I mean, you get 100%, 200%, 1,000%. Eventually, you're gonna sell. So the contracts we had went from 630 each to, like I had mentioned, about 20,000 each, which is literally ridiculous. So the little $1,200 position that I took, again, went 100% in 4 minutes, but had I held, would have been around $40,000. So very crazy trade. Nonetheless, I mean, it still looks like it has something in it. I would love to see a big retest of this 1092 level. As you can see, we've started to kind of create some specific areas of support, right? Areas in which we can bounce. So the way you really find that is just looking at where the stock, quote unquote, bounced, right? So this is the 1 hour chart. The 1 hour is considered a higher time frame. There's a lot more data to go off of. It's not just like simple day trading. Through it, you can, but the levels are a lot more conclusive and hold a lot more weight in terms of their legitimacy whenever you're trading off of those specific levels. So here at $1,104.78, you could see that we started to create a base for us to continue to push up, right? But once we did come through this, as you can see on this candle, we actually came and retested this same area in which we were rejecting. And yeah, it's like that's a very basic foundational piece of knowledge that you have to have when it comes to trading, is understanding how these levels not only work, but what they do specifically during periods of either consolidation or periods of breakdowns and breakups. So as you can see here, we came up to this 1,122.05 level, and we rejected it here, broke back through it here, retested it once, twice. So a fall to this, in my opinion, would then give us this area of 1,092, right? You can argue, however, that it would bounce earlier than that, in which it actually might, right? Like at this 1,114.53 level, you can also see that kind of bounce. Nonetheless, this is really what I'd be looking for, is this 1,104.89 into this 1,092. I'm sorry, I kind of messed that up. Nonetheless, that's what I am expecting. A break through these levels would then give us, this 1,080 level. A break below that would give us this 1,070.35, 1,061. And then I would really love to see this gap fill down to 1,040. I mean, if we're going to stay above 1,000, then I think 1,027.15 is the line in the sand. After that, I do think that we just inevitably retest this $1,000 level. So, I mean, to the upside, however, what can we see? Let's see. Let's go back to regular candles. I like switching in between just to see, where people were buying and selling on both types of candles just to have a more conclusive idea of, what may be to come. So this 1126.16 is a big level for us to break over. And then I would really like to see a break of this 1,135.09. I think that pushes us up in, over 1137. That 1137 to this 1140, that 1140 to this 1150. 1150 should give us, big, fresh new highs, as this is where it rejected twice, right here. So that's kind of what we need to see if we want to have more continued upside. But my money, just like everybody else's currently, is definitely on the downside of this stock. So that's Avgo. Another chip stock on our list. We're always going to be talking about chips on this channel, by the way, guys. I mean, chips are one of the biggest movers in the market, and they pay extremely well. So learning all of these charts and how they work with one another is extremely important, and understanding how this specific basket of stocks work, right? So just like all of tech, just like all of consumer, all of retail, things like that, you really need to understand that, all of them move together in some relative and respective manner. So getting right into SMCI. SMCI also had an incredible move to the upside. I believe I caught this for also 100%. It might have been 200%. And the calls that I got went absolutely stupid. I think I got the 267 calls, and I ended up making like 833 on the trade, I believe. I'll have to again find these screenshots just so that way it doesn't sound like I'm just talking. But this is what I'm looking for on SMCI. So we closed above this 300 level, which is extremely important for us to close over, right? As not only is it a big psych level, it's also an area in which we've consolidated a lot, and we've traded within a specific range when we've either broken over or under this 300 level. So we closed above. Now I'd like to see a push into that 306.74. I think a good break of that should give us that 317.45. Obviously not right away, and we're going to have to retest some specific areas like this 312.30. That's a big area that I'd expect either some or not even either. I would expect some resistance within this area. Nonetheless, above that, I think we do get that 317.45, and we continue to break higher. So I'd love to see this thing retest all-time highs. We just saw what Avgo could do, or rather what it did, and SMCI is also no stranger to squeezes. So in getting a big move, we should relatively, honestly, truthfully, I believe if we do end up breaking through this all-time high, we do end up seeing that 375-400 level. Again, that is maybe a big, bold prediction, but just like I said, Avgo kind of had the same exact look, and then went absolutely nuts, right? And the market is just on bull mode. We do need a good pullback, but it's just on bull mode. So we may break two all-time highs, retest all-time highs, and maybe not even break above. And if we don't, I mean, that's also fine. That's a 56-point move from here. So that's kind of just what I'm expecting. I'd love to see this 317.45 break, as I believe that this would inevitably push us to the upside, and I would see some resistance at 338, as you can see here. Again, higher time frame, previous data. There's a multitude of things you can play off of, especially because these levels would be deemed legitimate, as people did heavily sell at these levels on a higher time frame especially. So we see those rejections a lot more clearly. Now this, yeah, like I said, this 338 is probably going to be one of the bigger areas of resistance. But if we do end up breaking that, then I would love to see us at 348. I mean, almost a $10 move from there, right? First 341, and then I think that we do see that 348. That 348 break would inevitably give us this all-time high level. And then above that, like I said, 375, 400. I know it's a big range, but I do think that we could possibly see that. So that's just kind of what I'm looking for on SMCI in terms of the bull side. On the bear side, this 298.65 level is also a relatively important level. As you can see, we came down and we retested. Sorry, let me get right to it. Cool. We came down and we retested this level a multitude of times. When we broke above, we broke up nice. When we broke below, we ended up breaking down. Same thing here, rejection, here, rejection, rejection, etc. So now that we're back at this level, the same thing can potentially happen, right? You always have to keep all opportunities on the table and available to yourself in your arsenal as a trader. You have to be ready to take things head on, and things may not, always go your way in the ways that you plan, at least. So you always have to prepare and have a plan B in your back pocket just in case. So with that being said, this 298.65 level, I would love to see that. If we do end up breaking, I would love to see this 287 level. Again, another big level of support, and also a big level of rejections, right? So whenever we come down through here, we inevitably fall all the way back down. So I would love to see us hold this. If we do go lower, this 282.16 level also is another big level. So I would only expect a pullback to around this level. And then from there, I think that we may consolidate for a little bit and then have a bigger push to the upside. If not, then we continue to hold above this 300 level. This 306.74 level is going to be a very good level for take profit. 2, if we do get that break, it's going to be monumental, genuinely. So just look out for all of that on SMCI. With Bitcoin going absolutely fucking crazy these past couple months, obviously one of the stocks that is going to benefit from that is Coinbase, right? We saw Coinbase go from like mid 60s all the way up to this 155 area. With a market pullback, I do think that this can continue to go higher. We could possibly see 200. I'm not really sure about that. But I do think that from here, we do see, within that general area. So we closed at this 147.90, so just below 148. And I would love to see a break of the 148.55 in order for me to take calls. It's that simple. If Bitcoin is going to continue to have strength, again, Coinbase is going to benefit from that, then, playing the calls would just be the easier thing to do. Now, if we do end up breaking below this 146.29 level, then I would love to play puts down to the 143.76, and then even potentially that 142.48. I would love to see, however, this 143.76 level hold. As you can see, this was just a big area in which we ended up breaking down. We broke over, broke down, but once we came back through, we ended up going insane, right? So we ended up getting a $12 move from their $13 move. So that's what I would be looking for, is that, this 143.76 level to hold. If not, then I do inevitably think that we retest that 140. I mean, it just kind of makes sense, right? The psych numbers, whole numbers are a massive thing in the market, especially when you're going on bull runs, just like, Coinbase, Avgo, SMCI, all of these other massive companies. So yeah, I mean, all the levels are listed here. 148.55 is going to be my trigger. 1 hour close above this level is going to be my trigger for me to take calls and retest this 150 level. That's really what I would want. That would be a very clean trade. You get a $2 move off of that. A break above that, this is where it gets really messy, so I apologize. Okay, so a break above that 155.43 would be that 156.65, then 160.39, and I have all the way up to 162.59. After that, I mean, there's a multitude of levels here that we probably do bounce at, but this is where I would take the majority of my profit, is this 163 area, if I do end up holding the trade that long. So we'll go back to the 1 hour. That's kind of what I see to the upside and to the downside on Coinbase. Now, here's a stock that we don't really talk about often, and honestly, I really should start talking about it more. Google. So Google is actually also looks like it's in a flag. You know, since we came down to these lows back in, when was this? October 27th. We've absolutely ripped since then, right? I mean, we've honestly gone kind of crazy. So let's just look for some extra levels, and I already see one here. This 135.21 area. I mean, we could probably put it a little bit higher. Let's do 135.40. So this 135.40 level is, cool, perfect. Cool. So this 135.40 level, as you could see, we tried to base a multitude of times off of this level in order for us to have that that push to the upside, in which, you know, after we did hold this, we did have that initial push to the upside. So this is a bigger level for us on one of the higher time frames, is this 135.40. And also, where else? Where else? I mean, all of that is relatively close to there anyway. You know, 134.73. Also, I guess we could call this a level also, right? Rejections, bounces, fall throughs, etc. So honestly, I would just play this off of the fibs, as this doesn't move, you know, $5 a day. This is a relatively slow mover in terms of, you know, a day-to-day basis and a day trading basis. So all I'd really like to see is a break over this 134.73 to give us that 135.40, that 135.40 to this 136.47. This 136.47 right here. What about if we go a little bit? Yep, cool. Perfect. This 137.33. I mean, I guess, yeah, this could also be a level here. This 138.35, giving us that 139 break. And yeah, I mean, 139 right there. Perfect. So then above that, I would like to see this 130, 140 level. That 140 level should give us that 141.21 level. To the downside, however, I want to see under this 131.16 down to, I mean, we do just have a lot of consolidation in this area too. Could be a big area of chop. So this 130 level, I'd like to see hold. That 130 level doesn't hold. I'd like to see this 128.79. And then below that, I would like to see this 128 level. Below that, I would assume that we go into this 127 and then inevitably see that 125.42. So that's kind of what I see for Google going into the week. Again, my money is on this break of the downtrend, the retest, maybe some consolidation, and a push forward. So that's all I see for Google.